Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome back to CGL. Actually, the match which was played on Xbox One. We've now switched consoles, and we're over to the PlayStation 4 and a Diamond here. So slightly below the game which you just watched. I am joined here by my co-caster, commonly known as Ed Ramo, which you might have seen in yourself.
Yes, hello. Happy to be here. Casting PS4 side for the first time for me. I'm normally, Xbox born and raised, man, but now I'm crossing over.
Well, unlike Head Rama there, I obviously a few people in chat might know. Obviously, I'm up to 015. I have covered quite a lot of these PlayStation 4 games, and I've actually covered, especially Culture eSports. I've covered their quarterfinal match, and I also covered their semi-final match when they beat the, I think the only team that was unbeaten at that point as well. So they certainly, most people say they are the underdog. They were the 8th seed. We have to remember that going into the playoffs. And I think I'd have to ask you, Rama, if you don't mind me calling you that, obviously. I mean, how would you think they feel? You're the 8th seed. You've had kind of a disappointing regular season, you'd have to say, but you win 2 games back-to-back, including beating the only team that was left unbeaten. I mean, how do you feel going into this final? Do you feel like you're the favourites now after that?
I don't know if I would feel like I was the favorites, but I feel like it's almost a time to... It's almost like a kind of new life. So, okay, our regular season didn't go too well, but we've taken out an unbeaten team. You put so much effort into it. You're now in the playoffs. It's a new time. The regular season doesn't matter anymore. You're at this point in time where you can make your name in the playoffs. You've already taken out that big team, and you have that momentum. I mean, they're a team that wants it. Clearly, they have the ability to win. They've made it this far, and they've already taken those teams. And I think I would be hungry. I'd be hungry for that win.
And yeah, obviously we mentioned about the prize pool. I believe it was $500 if I remember right. I've gone for the master. This one's slightly lower. $350 is on the line today, which is in comparison to yesterday's match, which was a Masters for $500. So still, a decent amount of money for either one of these teams really to win. And obviously, we were saying there about Culture eSports. What a comeback that is! You go into the playoffs, and you end up winning the whole thing. Maybe they are going to be full of confidence, but could confidence maybe get the best of them? We have to remember this is a grand finals. Is there going to be nerves? Is there going to be, is there going to be more mistakes potentially made because you realise how big this game actually is? It's not just, a casual scrim or a casual comp match. So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what comps as well is also going to be ran by these teams, because we just obviously saw the NA games, and from what I saw the stream anyway, I was sort of in and out because I was actually playing competitive at the same time. But there seemed to be a lot more sort of DPS comps every time that I was looking, and I don't know if that's maybe just more of an NA thing that they kind of sort of don't play as much GOAT. But the map types, I think they kind of designed it in a way for the GOATs competition as well. So maybe it might come down to who has the better GOATs competition.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess we'll be starting out here on Route 66, our first map.
Yes, so not Hanamura.
Yeah, not Hanamura. And I do actually have the ready up here from both teams, so it looks like we can go on here. Oh yes, we do have quite the lineups here on both teams. Both teams are rocking some pretty stacked lineups. Here on the Culture eSports side, we got some names that I'll admit probably gonna struggle to pronounce here. We got Quad Ziki, age 25 from Franklin. What'd you say there?
Yeah, you said that right.
Oh, I did. Excellent. First try.
I got the name wrong quite a few times.
Yeah, we got T-Gray here. I am Anna, Hamider, Voidal, and Killer Beast 8288. Now on
Iron is obviously I believe they actually are the team captain, but they're not playing the first match by the look of it. So interesting, bold strategy. Captains not starting themselves. Has faith in his, the roster obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And now on the Nohbdy side, we got Alloy Light, Hack Attack Corey, Ricky James, Basic Angular, Daegu 12C, and Poofy with a dash at the end. You can't forget the dash. All of these players are actually, comparing the team ages, looks like Culture eSports, a relatively young team, versus Nohbdy, which is actually an older team, at least in terms of age of the players.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people do mention about reflexes get slower as you get older, which, personally, I don't believe myself, but you know. But I guess we mentioned about the hunger that Culture eSports would have, and I guess being a younger team means they would have probably more hunger as well because they want to win their tournament. You know, maybe win their first ever tournament.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit maybe of the Shock, like the San Francisco Shock. Very young team coming into it and taking the win here, this last stage finals.
Okay, let's maybe not get too carried away with ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So we've made you guys wait long enough here. Like we mentioned earlier, Route 66 being the first map. We have both teams on the ready. Why don't we just get right into it?
It's not Hanamura.
No.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. Alright, there's slight technical difficulty.
How long we got? Yeah.
So Route 66. I want to hear you. What do you think of this map?
Well, yes. It's going to be very interesting to see the competitions that we run. And it's obviously we did just see the map was played in the NA game the Xbox One game, also from NA, and we saw both teams get howled at the first point, which was very insane in terms of how solid the defense is. Route 66 is the map of many compositions. You can see the go DPS or quad DPS if you really want to get extreme amount of damage. It's going to be interesting to see maybe at first, it's first map, so do any of these teams take a risk and go out of their comfort zone? So I expect to potentially see either a goats for goats matchup or like a bunker and defense and then sort of try and counter bunker, if that makes any sense, in the attack. Yeah. So like a but obviously it's a bit too soon to make suggestions now. There's still plenty of times for switches, but I do have to mention about obviously the teams coming out. It looks like, just to remind everyone, if you're watching by the colours, it's Culture eSports are the blue team, so they're going to be on defense. Nohbdy are the red team on attack, and it looks like they will be going, as I mentioned, for that bunker composition. No Baptiste though. They're going for a Lucio instead, so they're going for that speed boost.
Yeah, they want to make those rotations fast. I'll admit here, I'm not super familiar with the meta on PS4, but I've definitely been seeing, at least in the matches so far I've watched in our grand finals, not really a whole lot of goats.
There was a lot more goats that was ran in the playoffs, and it kind of resulted in a lot more sort of 3-0 series. But since people have moved into the semi-finals and finals, there seems to be a lot more teams sort of going for these sort of different compositions, maybe ones that were practiced and they didn't want to show earlier. Looks like on attack though, we will have that dive composition that I mentioned, the Sombra Genji. To try and do sort of an anti-bug up there. Oh, that's unfortunate. Diego gets trapped due to having the junk out there by Tigre. That's a nice early pick for Culture eSports. Just going to drop to the point, just contest it for a little bit.
Oh,
they're trying to get underneath right now. I guess they're not really playing dive right now, Nohbdy. They're just trying to get some progress on this payload to get around this corner before they set up a dive. Fortunately, that pick onto the Genji slowed it down a little bit, and already bug cops are very well, they're very well known for burning us time off the clock. For 50 seconds, has already been burnt. Now comes another dive. We will fall on the Bastion. I wonder if a res is going to be attempt to be made there. Looks like they were just body blocking the bodies, so it can't happen. Pardon the pun. Diego's are going to fall to Tigre, but they will lose the main tank of Podski, who's just going to get res back up. So the Mercy res has now been used. Early tire coming by Tigre. There's actually Transcendence coming out, but it's not enough to keep the Ana alive. Ricky, remember, Taya still goes through Transcendence. It only keeps the Zenyatta alive. Hack will come out onto a Tigre. That is actually weird enough. The Junkrat gets hacked. Maybe not the target that's actually wanted by Fufe.
There's still somehow in this.
They're still in this right now. They're still brawling it out, and you can see the payload's moved even more now, just past the big oils here, also on the high ground. Void is back though on the Bastion, and it's going to finish off Alloy on the Winston, and the DMX going to also come in. And just like the fight's going to be stopped eventually by Culture eSports. They only give up a little bit more percentage, and Rama. Wasn't this where the payload got stopped on the last match we had on Route 66 as well, weirdly enough?
Yeah, but I'm really surprised they weren't able to push that further. With the picks they got in the beginning, I thought for sure they were going to be able to like fully open up and almost take first point. And I'm still surprised, kind of what you mentioned earlier, that they're running the Lucio instead of the Baptiste. I think the Baptiste would allow them to have survived that first kind of dive onto them where the Bastion was taken out.
Well, we do have to mention the EMP bomb combo is now aligned for Nohbdy, so this is going to be obvious counter. And Blade as well. They've got Nano Blade as well to clean up afterwards. A lot of ults coming online for Nohbdy. Excuse me. Sorry, there is the EMP for the bomb.
Everyone but Lucio.
Bomb gets 2. Also gets the bomb goes as well. The return bomb's going to be coming out. Bomb killer B. It's very dubious potentially to go for that Diva bomb. I think it's more of a remake. T-Guy will get a pick before he dies and doesn't actually get his tire off though. Before he'll fall to pack attacks, or Corey, I should probably say, on the Diva. It looks like they will get the first point in just under a minute. Well, bang on a minute actually, in fact. So they'll gain 2.5 minutes. Looks like some switches are going to come in now on the defense. The Reinhardt switch. So the squad's going to go back to the Lucio after just switching to the Zen temporarily there. And T-Guy is going to go to the Hanzo. They're keeping a Void on this Bastion right now. He does have the tank form, so that might be the reason why. Alloy is getting really low on this Winston. He will actually get picked off by Killer Bees. That's a huge pick. Decides to knock the bot. The Primal Rage to get out there. Wants to save that ultimate. They've got some nice progress on the point right now. They've got it through this little choke, but Culture eSports are realising that pick, and they're going to get a little bit more aggressive here and make sure they're holding this point. Some PL's going to come back in though, because Poofy's still on this Sombra trying to get a late pick onto T-Bray there. I think there was a hack that came into the Hanzo, so the team reacts. Culture eSports are determined in this corner right now. They definitely do have the advantage, the shield advantage with the Bastion as well.
But Bastion being on the low ground presents a problem for them. He could easily be rushed down.
Yeah, he can. He could easily be dived onto as well. But T-Gray is going to get a nice pick onto Diego, so the Genji is now down. The hack tries to come in, but it's actually
nice Bionade.
Void is down. Looks like the race is going to be made. It will. There's a Primal Raging Nanoed Monkey though coming in. Maybe a bit of miscommunication about the ultimates there. Trance is also committed by Basic here after the fight. Looks kind of lost. Dragons is going to come by T-Grade to get some cleanup kills by looking through this little room to the side of the little petrol station. What is it called? It's garage actually. Sorry, pardon. That's my English coming out there. We'll end up just cleaning up the fight. It's nice to sort of some stagger kills coming in there for Culture eSports on their defense. Left with only one ultimate though, which is the Diva Bomb. And this is interesting. Poofy is going to make the switch off the Sombra to the Tracer, and Diego, who actually had the Blade, has now switched over to the Sombra. So they sacrificed the Dragon Blade, which I was about to mention is one of the ultimates that they did have. Corey is going to send in his bomb. The Die's going to try and go in with it to try and force the Reinhardt shield to go down, but it doesn't work. So all ultimates are now down. The bomb's going to come in by Killer Beast. Is this one going to be better? It doesn't actually get any kills.
No.
Poofy gets really low though on the Hanzo. If he could take a body shot from T-Gray there off screen, or at least off my screen anyway.
Bastion is sleeping though.
But he gets waking up instantly. The advantage right now on the point is definitely for Culture eSports because they have this Reinhardt, but he's just been hacked as soon as I say that. But Diego pays for that hack with his life. Alloy still has on Primal Rage now. He's built up another one. Poofy is going to fall again. The Bastion getting another kill. Alloy gets really aggressive. He's going to get picked off by Killer Bees with the help of the damage boost from Mercy, who's also going to miss T-Grade. And right now, Culture eSports definitely looking a lot more solid on the second point. I think we do have to mention though, they're definitely playing into their hands in my opinion. I mean, what do you make of it, Rama? I think just the comp that Culture is winning is just better right now for the second point.
I mean, it's definitely better at this point because they're kind of on one of these corners, which is working out really well for them, and they're not having to almost spend anything. But you just you kind of just see Nohbdy just kind of run in there willy-nilly one at a time, and they just get burned by the Bastion. And then when Bastion's kind of out on his own, they either don't punish him, or when they do punish him, he dies and they just leave, and then he gets rezzed again. But see, like again, we have Allied Light there going. He's just getting picked off. They're They're just they're doing this poke battle. But if you look right now, look at all the ultimates that are up. There's 6 ultimates right now for Culture eSports. Oh, a massive shatter.
T-Greg gets another pick on to Poofy. There's a little bit of a delay there. Sorry about the little breaking commentary, but we're going to go back into it. Killer Beast gets a pick onto Basie. Diego comes in with the EMP, connects with a couple, but I don't think it's going to be enough to turn the fight. The bomb's going to come out, not going to actually find any kills, and Killer Beast and T-Greg just clean up a kill a piece. Hudsky is just going to get an extra kill there on to Alloy after the Primal Rage being popped, and right now there's Diva left to try and stall the point, and I think this is where the pilot is definitely going to be stopped now by Culture eSports.
Yeah, absolutely. It really just felt like people were on this. It felt like nobody was not on the same page. It feels weird saying that was the team name's nobody, but it felt like their team just wasn't on the same page with their engagements. They kept trying to do these types of dives.
In comparison to maybe a bunga composition or maybe even goats, is contesting the point is obviously going to be very hard because you are jumping into a lot of damage. And Reinhardt's just swinging away. He does a lot more damage than people actually think when he hits a few swings. You know, the hack will come in. Those going to delay him for a little bit. Alloy is just working towards his Primal Rage, but off screen, the 2 DPS have fouled to Killer Beast and Vodri. Diego's going to get res. Ricky's going to pick off T-Grey. Nice pick bomb the Zenyatta, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to turn this fight away. Alloy right now has gone Primal Rage, just trying to cause some space right now, but he's kind of left point behind. Hasn't really got any picks on it. Will return back, but in the meantime, Ricky's going to fall to T-Grey in the end. I think it's just clean up right now for Culture eSports.
I've also noticed that Culture eSports, they're winning a large majority of their fights without having to use any ultimates at all, which allows them to accumulate these 5 or 6 person ult banks, whereas we see nobody popping ults and not really getting value from it. They're still losing these fights.
Yeah, there seems to be popping ults maybe at like sort of the wrong times. Again, Primal Rage there potentially at the end. It's probably not really going to turn the fight on its head, really. You'd have to say, but you know what? It's been done now. He'll work towards another one. But you did mention about the ult bank. Obviously, nobody. They do have the secret weapon though in the Sombra, who obviously has the EMP right now, so the capability to take all those ults away, which they've worked so hard to get. But right now, they need to get a point, and this is the issue for nobody. They can't pressure this point as much as they want to with this composition. They have to throw in the bomb to do it. The EMP goes in afterwards. It's not very well timed. Squad's gonna fall. That's a huge hit by Poofy. He's gonna lose his life to self-destruct. Hack comes into Hamidare though to deny the res coming in onto the Zed with Transcendence, and the Dragon's also going to be eaten. Good play so far, cutting by nobody, and I think they will be able to hold it here. The barrage going to be committed by Void. Going to take out Poofy on the Widowmaker. Most of it gets eaten, and he will fall to Diego. And right to the end there, look how close that pay.
Yeah, both.
What? With the headshot and then the hack onto Hamidare to stop him from rezzing the Zenyatta. Huge players coming in from the DPS there.
Yeah, both teams pretty much just dumped their entire ult banks into that fight and didn't really get much for it. I mean, I believe that was one of the first fights won for nobody in quite a while. We do have the Pharmacy switching off to McCree now and immediately taking out the Sombra. Apparently the switch was a good idea.
I mean, yeah, the McCree switch obviously is probably known to try and handle the Sombra as well, the Brigitte, but instantly Void's making an impact, takes out the Sombra, that threat is down. Ali's going to pop his Primal Rage just to contest the point for a little while here. The bomb's going to go out. Why Killer Beast doesn't get any kills? The Dragon's going to go by T-Grey. This time it's not eaten. Going to get the D-Mech as well as the Alloy falling on the Reinhardt. There's only 3 people left, and one of them's a Baby Diva right now for nobody, who actually gets a pick on Quantsky, actually. One Baby Diva.
Baby Diva! Brag it out.
Baby Diva power coming in there, but they're the only one left on point. They get D-Mech, and it's only going to be a matter of time, and it will be. Culture eSports will eventually, after a little while, little delay on that second point, will take the first map of Route 66, and I don't know if you want to say that's sort of a comfortable victory, because there was some issues at the end, but it definitely looked a little bit more solid there, I'd say, on the first map. Do you agree, Emma?
Yeah, I would say Culture eSports looked fairly dominant throughout most of this map here. They looked like they struggled a bit on first point, but they were surprisingly able to stabilize. Culture, like, they definitely made mistakes, but their mistakes were never punished by nobody.
Yeah, we were mentioning about it, and I hope you agreed with what I was mentioning, that the issue that nobody had, was by running the dive tanks, was contesting the point. And you saw how much percentage which Culture eSports kind of got So, yes, welcome back. We just saw, obviously, the first map, of this series going to Culture Esports there. I just wanted to get your opinion there, Ramo, if you agreed with me about the sort of Nohbdy. They kind of played into Culture's hands, really, by running the dive tanks. And so they struggled to be able to contest the point, really, didn't they?
I mean, I agree that I think it gave them a little bit of problems. I mean, especially because they're running to the Bastion. The Bastion deals so much damage, and it's not that you can't run dive into it. You absolutely can, but it requires the coordination to make sure you kind of absorb that damage, and you need to go in as a team. In this case, they're running the Winston D.Va, they're running a Genji and a Sombra. I mean, in that case, you can go in as a group. You have their D.Va defense matrix as you're going in, and you can have your Genji reflect as you get closer and like behind the shield, and a Sombra do the damage all at the same time. You need to burst them down all at once while being able to absorb the damage before you get there. But they never really went in as that unit, and so the Bastion was able to survive the damage with like the Mercy Pocket or his own self-healing. And it just allowed him to burn down so much damage. We saw him just melting Winston repeatedly, and even sometimes just like catching Sombra off guard when she wasn't looking.
Yeah, and obviously they carried on the theme onto their defense as well. And I didn't Culture, they took the first point, but you see how far they're actually able to get that payload before Nohbdy can actually commit to a team fight. And it's partly due to because Ally actually falls on the Winston just before that as well. But you see how long they have to wait to engage in a fight. Nohbdy, they have to engage with ults just to get onto the point to contest it, and they win that team fight. But as we mentioned, it was sort of probably a matter of time before Culture won it, especially when they were that close to capping the point. But obviously that's an issue when you do run dive, and unless you commit early, you do end up giving a lot of space. And when you've got a situation like that, when there is a win condition quite very close, really, you'd have to say, because it's only halfway through, technically. So obviously it's a lot closer to be able to win. And sorry, excuse me, I've just had a drink of very fizzy pop. So I think definitely Culture Esports, they realised the advantage they had. It was very possible, Quadskid could have made a decision to switch onto the Winston themselves, and they also ran dive, but they said, no, we're going to stick to the Hanzo, we're going to stick to the Reinhardt, we're going to stay on this point, we're going to make them come to us, and we're going to do a lot of damage as they come in.
Yeah, absolutely. I really want to see. Now we're going to Ilios now, so a completely different style of map. Oftentimes when it's a little bit more brawly, you don't really... I mean, unless you're set up on point, you don't really get to... you don't really get to sit down there with a Bastion a lot. Though we have actually seen a few teams play Bastion on this point already in the finals, so I bet you'd be kind of curious to see if we see the Bastion. But right now, we're getting some Torbjorn being teased to us by Culture Esports here, and ever since we've seen Defran run it, now everyone's like, you know what? It's excuse. I can run Torb now.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who has been found guilty of that. And you mentioned about the Bastion being run in this comp. We actually saw it in yesterday's grand finals on PlayStation 4 as well, with the Bastion Torb comp that came out for Vindication NA. That was on this second map with Ilios. But Hamid, we'll switch over back to the Mercy, and we've teams are exactly the same. So Culture Esports are the blue team, and Nohbdy are still the red team. But there has been a sub. I am Anna has come in for Culture Esports for squad. So there's been a support switch for Culture Esports ahead of Ilios. Early hook's going to come out there, the hook combo, but it doesn't lead to a kill. Again, Void on this Farah Mercy. They've gone for a lot of sort of.
The double!
He was all on hold, but they made sure of it with the hook. Obviously, a lot of environmental kills can be used with this one, and that's potentially why Void's gone for this Farah as well.
Boom!
To say that the risk is going to fall, Diego almost falls as well on the hog. They're actually running triple tank here. I've just noticed Nohbdy. They're running the D.Va as well, potentially trying to eat the concussion blast. Wasn't successful there. Diego almost gets falling inside there. He gets hit.
A dragon already.
Killer piece. It just throws out that dragon, and first point control has gone to Nohbdy, but they're definitely losing this team for right now.
Got the res! Oh my gosh!
I don't know how he got that res off. Void's going to use the advantage of the bongos though to take out Diego as soon as.
So much damage.
Corey's going to get demet, and I think it's just a massive cleanup right now for Culture Esports. You can see that they're definitely winning in the kill feed. They are going to commit the barrage, but he's going to lose his life in the meantime for it.
Mini Diva's still alive, stalling the entire fight.
They're just stalling right now for as much percentage as they possibly can. It's very wise play there. They know the fight's over, and they managed to stall that point to 45%. And it might not look like much at first glance, but certainly, you know, you're just under halfway to capping the first point. You know, from either team, both teams sticking on these compositions for now. So Nohbdy definitely sticking onto this triple tank composition.
And if you're Culture, eSports, you're really happy you took the point, because losing it is really hard to take back with Pharah.
Yeah, it really is, and Pharah could just do damage, and Diego is just going to go jumping into the well as they reset here. The dragon from the Killer Bee just comes across. He just comes across to the left-hand side there, catch out the Lucio of Ricky, who's very close.
He's only 50 to another.
Some switches coming in. Poofy's now going to switch over to the Widowmaker. Ally has gone back onto that Winston from the Arista, so they're sacrificing the two ultimates, which they did have there. The two tank ultimates have been sacrificed. Diego's also going to move over to the Pharah as well, so we're going to have a Pharah Mercy battle here in the skies. So Poofy's now made another switch to Tracer. So some switches definitely coming for Nohbdy, but they've reset their entire ult bank, basically, other than support ults to do it. And we mentioned about Culture eSports on Route 66, how they was able to just hold their ults and use them when they want. And
the reds are again.
Here,
gets booped and hooked.
That one gets denied this time. Again, another risky red, and they will get punished for it this time.
But this one they need to back out.
They need to be set right now. As I was mentioned about the ultimate bank, and Culture eSports, they haven't been forced to use anything. They used Valk for the last fight, but it was only really to keep the Mercy alive because they got low, and you know, they're stacking up these ultimates right now. They have a sound barrier.
Oh, a late stagger.
The Lucio gets killed, so that sound barrier is now down for Culture eSports. Not Culture eSports, sorry, for Nohbdy. It's one of the only ultimates which they did actually have. And you know, that stall potential is also down. Poofy dies. Killer Beast is going to throw out another dragon, and I've lost count how many that is. Super Bomb goes in by Corey, but it's not going to pick off anyone. Ricky's back with that sound barrier now. He's going to get it off. The res is going to be allowed onto Poofy. Ult's coming out galore, but in terms of kill feed, I Am Anna's going to use the barrage to take out the D-Mech, apparently. eSports ready, by the way. Yeah, we've got the Killer Beast, but will lose his life. T-Gray gets a kill on Poofy. Sorry, Poofy, sorry, not Boofy. Got distracted with Boof and Poofy there because there was a Boof that happened in there. Right now, the entire kill feed, though, is full Culture eSports, and they will eventually clean up the point. I do apologise, I got a few more words mixed up on that last team fight. There's quite a lot going on.
And despite capping first and getting 45%, Culture eSports taking it back and just 100%ing it right from that point.
I mean, we have to just look at it. Nohbdy there. They didn't look like they had any chance to retake it. We saw, you know, they tried to make a push when they had ultimates, and then it was like, okay, no, we're gonna sacrifice his ults to switch compositions completely, and then they lost the first team fight, which meant they was never actually able to build up the ultimates to use for their advantage. And even the ults which they did build up wasn't, you know, they didn't get value from it. The Diva Bomb didn't get any kills. Sound barrier wasn't enough to keep them alive, as they eventually just got burnt down. And we're going to have a Hammond, a triple DPS coming in by Culture eSports here, again with the Pharah Mercy. But we have a Wild Doomfist on the scene. No, you're not imagining that, chat. We have a Doomfist. Again, Pharah Mercy is going to come out for Nohbdy, so we're going to have another Pharah Mercy battle here. Void's going to win that instantly with the help of the Mercy. There's a lot of raids going to be made this time by Basic. An early pick there for Culture eSports might be enough just to take first point control. Again, they wouldn't want these dive composition, or dive tanks anyway with a Tracer. Again, Nohbdy seems to really favouriting running Diva Winston right now, but they've had quite limited success, you'd have to mention. But I guess it's kind of a play to try and counter this Pharah Mercy, because Void is sort of free right now, just to spam this damage in. You can see his upcharge for his barrage already. He gets another pick there on Diego as soon as I say that. He's already approaching 60% for his barrage.
Yeah, just building up these ultimates so fast. We do under the Hanzo now, and I don't know, it feels like Nohbdy keeps running the run this kind of dive composition, and it keeps not working out for them.
I mean, you mentioned that, and they get a headshot onto Killer Beast as well, that was invisible behind. Cast a Curse again, coming in there for Nohbdy, but there's going to be the D-Mech onto Corey. So they will sacrifice the Diva here. T-Gray's going to fall to Diego, who gets 2 picks and switching onto that Hanzo. Free, in fact.
Pop it off.
He takes out Iron Man, he gets hacked, but that's not really going to cause much issues because he can still fire arrows. He's going to get the pick of goal. Twice now he's taken out Sombra out. It takes out Quadsky.
He's killing them all.
Okay, Diego just got a 6k there. Technically a 7 because he killed the Sombra twice. Maybe he should have been on Hanzo from the start. He's already built up that dragon.
Yeah, all right, man. Just play Hanzo now. Play nothing. He's just getting all of those kills.
Yeah, he just, I mean, absolutely huge, and he has these dragons ready to send it into a corridor, which way they're going to approach. But a lot of ults are aligned for Culture eSports, the EMP being one of them. You know how big of a turn of plate that ult can be. Early Val going to be coming in by Hammy there. Keep him alive. Killer Beats gets really low on the Sombra. Kind of have to back out. Quadsky's going to pop the minefield, but no real kills coming from it yet. Bomb goes out by Poofy, that doesn't connect to him well. Alloy is also committing common rate. 2 kills come in, the EMP is going to come in just to hit 3. They're going to commit the beat as well.
They're really doubling down.
I don't know if that beat was necessary for Culture eSports. Diego's going to get another pick down onto Hamideh, so the Mercy's down.
When Hanzo's alive, the fight's not over.
He just gets punched into a wall though by Tigray and the Doofus. That probably felt really good for him to finally kill Diego. He's already halfway through the dragon, by the way.
Yeah, that was a really big investment from the side of Culture eSports. They had spent 2 or 3 more ults after they had already won the fight by getting those 2 initial picks.
Completely 6-6 in the first map there, Vilios, but they were able to hold on to the ultimates. They kicked quite a lot there in that team fight. Maybe they just want to take the point back as soon as possible and not give Diego room to do the damage again. Diva's been hacked, but it doesn't look like the focus is coming out on him right now. Look at the percentages though, 90%. Sort of now or never for Nohbdy. They need to get on this point and start getting some kills. So Alloy's going to pop upon range to touch. Diego's going to throw the dragons. Takes out Killer Beast again. Sombra is down. Diego right now is putting his team on his back. Tigray's going to return over the kill onto basic. Poof is also going to fall to Quadsky. Diego gets another pick. But Quadsky gets a double kill with the Hammond booth there. The minefield's going to come out as well. He's the only one alive. Diego's going to finish him off, and the point was retaken there by Nohbdy. Killer Beast is going to get a pick onto Alloy though. So only Diego left now.
That's all you need.
The point. Poofy's also back, and it looks like the respawns are coming back slightly quicker for Nohbdy here. They're going to get the res onto Alloy as well. It's huge plays from Alloy there on the Winston. He gets onto the point and makes sure they retake the percentage before that team fight starts. So despite the picks that come in for both teams, Nohbdy will retake the point. It looks like we're going to be going to a 99-99 section here, but Killer Beast has the EMP though for Culture.
The EMP barrage, they have to survive it.
It connects, only hits the Lucio though, but maybe that's all you need. Is that sound barrier? No,
Fair kills himself.
Alloy gets melted down by the Sombra as well, and Void's going to lose his life on. Maybe a little bit too close to the Diva Met there. Beat's going to come in by Iron Man, and this time more time. Diego's down. The carry is down, as some people would say.
But he's back!
Iron Man, and Diego gets res. Both races actually come in. But both Mercies are back to the 6v6. This is where Doomfist could do a lot of work. First Diva Bomb's going to come in by Hammond is down. Killer Beast is also fouled to Diego again on that Hanzo. Taking out this Sombra very quickly. Advantage right now is definitely in Nohbdy's favour. Some picks have to come in for Culture eSports as they go to on the 10. Alloy Light's going to just
Mercy down now.
Hamideh is down. Tigray's going to come in with the Meteor Strike here. See if he can get a pick. It gets Poofy, but Void loses his life in return. They're just trading right now. Advantage still with, you'd have to say, with Nohbdy. Another EMP comes in, connects with 3. It's too late to divide the raid, and they have to get off point. Eventually, Nohbdy are able to just get enough kills, and I think it's definitely, we have to say it's down to that Diego switch to the
absolutely.
We had another dragon left there at the end.
Yeah, if you're Nohbdy here, you are not taking Diego off Hanzo. He is I don't know what this man is taking, but Hanzo is his character now. Just he was putting his team on his back, getting pick after pick after pick. And the picks he was getting was also relieving a lot of pressure off the rest of his team and allowed the rest of his team to also perform better.
But it looks like as we approach the third of the final map of Ilios here, they're going to go for a double sniper dive here, coming in for Nohbdy again. Diego staying on that Hanzo, surprise. Meanwhile, Culture eSports is going to be coming out with a Ryan Diva, a Hanzo Reaper. So Tigray going to try and take his one-on-one. with Diego, but he might be a bit outclassed because he also has to deal with Poofy on the Widowmaker here. So wouldn't be surprised if maybe Void makes a switch after seeing this. But it looks like potentially they just want to hold the point here, Culture eSports, like they did on Route 66. But poke damage coming in at first, Adelight gets down to half HP because he's going to healed up, and Culture's going to drop to the point. Now this was their plan, probably just to take point control and use this Reaper for some up close damage. They will take first point control as Nohbdy gets off the point. Pardon the pun. Poofy's going to fall to Killer Beast on the Diva. Look at their health bars right now. They can't really take this fight. Alloy's going to fall to Void on a Reaper, and that's what you want to do. You want to get up close and personal with that Reaper. There's another kill onto Diego as soon as I say that. So Culture eSports are definitely acknowledging the fact that they know dive tanks would be ran more here by Nohbdy. So they go to the Reaper, they go to the Hanzo. It's a lot of close range damage. You can see the switch now coming in. Allied switch over to the Reinhardt, but Corey gets a late DMAC there, sorry, onto Corey by Killer Beast, who has to jump off. So Nohbdy's definitely going to be stalled, and Diego has now made the switch back over to the Pharaoh, which he originally started on the last map.
From the shadows.
Yeah, they're doing a small Poofy immediately taking out Void there on the Reaper. An excellent pick for them. Now will make pushing on the point so much easier. Now that we have Ally on the Rhine, they just push on this point and just not letting them get this res.
Yeah, a lot more damage. It's down. Tigre's also going to fall to Corey. Goes to the back line, so the DPS is down for Culture eSports. So they're relying on the tanks to do it here. Killer Beast is going to throw up the self-destruct to store the point. From Diego. The Pharaoh falls. There's going to be also a return bar by Corey, who gets Hammy there. I think Hammy there potentially was going for a res onto I Am Anna there, and the Lucio that fell. I can't confirm that, but I believe that's what's happening. And Mark got confused because Basic also went for res on Diego, who's now back with his barrage. Pick up Killer Beast, fall to Tigre's Hanzo. And right now, Culture eSports, they know they've probably lost this, but they're stalling. All that is a bit of an overinvestment, I'd have to say, by I Am Anna. They obviously want to try and turn this point around. They will pick up Corey on the Diva.
Getting the picks they need.
I'd like to take out Void. You had the Death Bus and they're stalling for long enough here. The res is going to come in. Hammy just gets shattered out of the res there. Huge play coming in by Ally. Probably knows that bringing that Reaver back will definitely not help them retake the point. And right now, Culture eSports, I think you can afford to lose here. You've got 99%. Ult's committed, most of it's eaten. Kotsky is still going to fall. Diego will fall to Killer Beast afterwards. I Am Anna's also down. Red's going to be caught in by Basic. And I think that's going to be it for Culture eSports defense. But they got 99% and they got a lot of ultimates out. And they did. The as well.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about how you thought it was a bit of an overinvestment, but I think looking back now, it lasted so long, they pretty much built a lot of them back up, and you got so many ultimates out of Nohbdy. I mean, you look right there; they only have Valkyrie now.
Yeah, maybe a bit of adjustment from my side there. Sam Berry obviously been committed when they had 80%, so they were down 3 people as well. But you know what? They made a decision. They're up to 99, and they definitely have ult advantage here. But it's going to be about that first pick. They can kind of take the time, but they don't want to get too carried away. Corey gets back in mech. There was actually out of mech. Killer Beast
pins them up.
The charge gets pins, but he's going to fall. The Reinhardt is down. Dragon's by Tigre to go across. The race is going to come in though by Basic. Another bomb's going to come in by Corey to take out I Am Anna. Lucio is now down. Bomb's also
they're winning this fight.
Takes out Killer Beast. Void's still going to commit the Death Blossom here, try to turn it around. We're going to pick onto Ricky. But Shatter's going to come in, which is going to take out Tigre, and just going to be clean up right now. For DPS, a lot of ults being committed from both teams here. And again, but no ultimates is now available for Nohbdy. Culture, again, though, they do have some ults themselves. They are making a switch now. Tigre are going to go to the Reaper here. And Void switching back over to the McCree, which we did see run on Route 66. They're going to have 3 ultimates go into this, so they might use.
They have both support ults.
But look at the percentage right now, it's definitely clipped up for Nohbdy. We're very close to sort of last fight territory right now, and Diego's going to have another barrage. Remember how quick he can get them. Corey's back in mech now. He was de-mech that entire team fight. They were a little bit too slow.
Ooh, they're getting so low. Oh, taken out immediately.
The stun, I think that was. It's all
the shatter.
As well, Ally's going to fall. Tigre's going to get that pick. Diego's going to be res. The Farah is now back in the skies to put some more damage down. Last fight territory. Right now, Corey's going to get de-mech again, though, for the 3rd time. Ricky's going to commit sound down. Boy's going to fall to the bomb. The I Am Anna
punished for the res.
I Am Anna tried to use beat, but got killed before he could use it. Res comes in, but both sports are now down. Diego on this Pharaoh is doing a lot of work.
Pins the Mercy
down. The Mercy's down. Tigre's also back. They will lose Quad C. It's just Killer Beast left now on Diva trying to fight this Pharaoh as well. But they've got to stay on point. Culture eSports had 2 people alive against 1 Reinhardt. They get too focused.
They could have won that.
They get too focused on taking out the Pharaoh rather than staying on point and fighting the Reinhardt there. And that is definitely a C9 if people want to say that in chat.
Yeah, that was an absolutely insane fight. We saw all the situations where, like the Mercy got pinned after being with the Pharmacy, which completely turned the tide of the fight in Culture eSports' favor. But like you mentioned, they got too distracted with the Pharah, and right when they turned around together, forgot that they never turned over the points. They stepped off the point and gave the map win.
I think what happened there is they had Quadski alive on the Reinhardt and he fell. Welcome back. I mean, we're trying to recover from that last map there. Really. If you just saw I mean, you have to put it down to the C9 by Culture eSports, and I think. Sorry, Hammer. I meant to say not Hammer. I believe what actually happened in that team fight. I'm gonna have to watch it back, but we did see Quadcy, which was on the Reinhardt for Culture eSports. He was on the point, battling the opposite Reinhardt of Alloy. And I think Culture eSports banked on the Reinhardt staying alive long enough for them to be able to take out the Pharaoh, but that the Pharaoh was actually going to do damage. And what actually happens is the Pharaoh is able to get the pick onto Quadski on the Reinhardt, but because they're fully committed already, you see the Divas like committed the boosters already, already done whatever the Reapers was going to do at that point against the Pharaoh, and they're just too late to be able to. And that's really unlucky, but Iliasti went all the way. We got to see all 3 maps, and
yeah, it's just it's one of those situations where we saw them kind of go into these fights. I think we saw Apache a few times on the map where Culture eSports comes out pretty strong and actually stops kind of the combination that nobody was trying to do, where nobody was kept trying to get off these barrages, but really wasn't getting a whole lot from it. We saw, I believe it was Diego, barrage at a pretty much 1 health right in front of Diva's face, which just got defense matrix and immediately taken out by McCree, which should have kind of sealed the fate for that fight. Excuse me, but it seemed like the pharmacy was too distracting for them. When the pharmacy got rezzed, they just spent so much time trying to deal with it, and when they were putting all this time into the pharmacy, the rest of the team was getting value and kind of slowly evening the fight. But at the same time, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
You were about to mention about Diego. We saw his impact, which he had on the Hanzo in the second map. He was playing the Farah. I do have to mention, in that last fight, you mentioned about how you felt in the McCree and how they get the res off. And you actually see the impact which he has straight away, because the second that he reses, he takes out I Am Anna while they're in mid-process of dropping the beat on the Lucio. So the res is then committed, but while the res is being made by Hamidair, Diego takes out the Mercy and then takes out I Am Anna again on the Lucio. So not only did he kill the supports once, he then killed him 2 more times to give his team a massive advantage. And I think he kind of just had his sort of moment there on Ilios, and I think if you are for Nohbdy right now, you're hoping he hasn't, burned himself out already with those 2 performances.
Yeah, but at the same time, it seemed like also Nohbdy was having trouble dealing with the Reaper on the point. The Reaper was getting a lot of value, especially towards the end there. Reaper was just left alone and getting all that self-heal just kept keeping him alive. And I'm pretty sure the picks that Reaper got there at the end would have allowed them to win that map if they had not done the C9. But now,
here we are.
That map's over. It's Hanamura now. We saw this happen on an earlier match today. Our good old 2 CP, favorite map in the game. Pablos, what do you think of this map?
Well, it's a 2 CP map. You just answered it perfectly. You never know what you're going to get with a 2 CP map. It's either going to be madness or it's going to be absolutely agony for you. Either way, it's going to make for an entertaining series, and we're going to have on defense. There has been a side switch now for anyone, just so people are aware. So the blue team on defense are now Nohbdy and Kulture are now on attack as the red team, where there has been a side switch which has occurred now at the.
We're seeing a bunker comp here on the defense.
We do see the bunker
with no Bastion. They have switched it up. Oh,
huge. Absolutely huge beat, but I think they might be able to make it back up in time. That's what Void was planning for.
Well, half the team just abandoned the bunker. Half the team went the point.
Killer Beast kind of goes a little bit too aggressive there and pay the price with his mech. I actually believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ramo, I think this is actually the first time we've seen Baptiste so far in the series as well.
It is. It seems like they heard half my advice from before, where they got the Baptiste but dropped the Bastion in the same play.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting one, but they've gone for the tall Widow instead, and you can see the value there as Poofy gets a pick on Widow there. And
much better.
Sorry, excuse me, Jesus, I seem to have hiccups right now.
But now there's like there's 3 of them kind of just like strapped here in the back line. They're kind of just there, waiting for the rest of their respawns. They probably could have been punished.
He falls while he's at the choke there. I think they're waiting for the team to regroup. They didn't want to fully reset. They are just going to speed out now after that pick comes in. But again, a lot of time built off the clock. And you mentioned about how quick Farah could normally get barrage, but look at Void's dunk charge right now. It's not looking very promising considering how long we've been gone.
I mean, right now Poofy is hitting these shots, and especially with the team getting split there was no Reinhardt shield to protect the team and trying to like reconnect with the rest of their members that were already in deep. I'm not quite sure why they didn't decide to just fully reset earlier by jumping off the map, but now it looks like we do have a few changes.
Well, massive changes coming in, fully over to the Zenyatta to go to create a change in main tank as well, also coming in. For the eagle-eyed viewers there, they'll notice that Quadski is now moving over to the Zenyatta.
And now Nohbdy got completely out-rotated. They already have full point presence.
Poofy's going to get a pick though onto Quadski. The Molten Core is going to come out by the Tourbillon here. You have to remember, the Tourbillon can actually stall a point for a really long time now. People with another pick. The added alert's going to take out Tigo. They're going to commit the field here as well. I believe the tick was not even fully taken there, actually. I think it's contested at the last second. By Nohbdy, perfect timing to get back in. And they will stop the point But the ult charge percentage is definitely looking a little bit better now, you'd have to say, for Culture eSports. But
yeah, I really must say, I feel like that fight was kind of like, obviously nobody had the ult advantage there, but I really feel like Culture kind of threw away their advantage they had there. They just stormed right on the point and had complete point presence, where bunker comp usually really strong because they already have that point presence. But they got completely out-rotated.
Well, personal bubble has to be popped instantly there, so they can't go as aggressive as they want here, Culture eSports. They have to wait. Bongos is going to come out early. They're going to use the rally to get aggressive. They'll take out that instantly. The bomb's going to be coming in by Killer Beast. The Immortality Field kind of stops that bomb from going off. Another bomb going to be thrown in by Corey. Doesn't get a kill this time. It's another one.
That's been one fight.
Very quickly during that last fight. Potsy's now made to switch over to the Moira as well from the Zen.
Basically, big shatter.
Huge shatter by Tigray, but follow-up needs to be there. The Graviton Surge is going to come in. They will take the charge onto Diego. So Alloy Light left on the Orisa here. Rez gets done by Basic.
Punished.
He just brings the Tourbillon back. The Tourbillon is still on point to contest right now.
How is this Tourbillon still alive?
Yeah. Torb is still alive right now on point, and so is Corey on the Diva. Eventually they will take him out. Widow's still alive here as well. Poofy trying to get some picks on this Widowmaker, but look at the time bang. They're probably trying to store this for as long as they possibly can now, Nohbdy. We want to give them as little time as possible to take the second point. They've had to commit a lot of ults there, grabs and surge. They're ready to build up another bomb.
Diego has another Tor Bolton Core.
I mean, Tourbillon's ult, he charges very quickly when he can just do a lot of damage and just shell it in. So Switch is going to be coming in, Adderlight's going to switch off the Orisa, go to the Winston. Now he's sitting there. Probably it seems to be his preferred main tank because he's played it the most so far in the series.
Now this could be a situation for a potential snowball. While there's no major ultimates, they do have a lot of support ults open for the attack here, and they do have the point now.
There's another Marks and Core, as you mentioned, coming in. Obviously that can be eaten. Killer Beast eats a little bit of it, but he's still going to lose his life to it. Squad also get stuck in it as well. We didn't even mention the fact that he'd been sub back in for Iron Man after the last match there. We actually missed that substitute, so I do apologise. Looks like the kill feed though, especially spawn advantage, will go in nobody's favour, but the bomb's going to be coming in. It's going to actually get Eme with the help of Bodger. It's a nice shatter to deny the res as well. And just
fair in the air now.
Actually winning this team fight right now. Another coalescence by Quadski after making that switch from the Zenyatta. Moira's obviously chances very quickly in a composition like this when you're doing a lot of damage. They've got to kill Alloy Light, who's switched up to the Hammond right now, still for a little bit longer. And you can see the point time. It looks like they're going to have a lot of time left on the clock, but it's not a lot in comparison to times that you have to Hannah Moira before. Probably just left to score for a little bit longer. The spawn advantage will definitely come in handy right now for Nohbdy. They just need to get one kill, try and turn this fight on its head, just balling it out right now. Diego falls. Another grab's going to come in, so just going to pick up Remy and Alloy on that Hammond as well, so they can't retouch. They will make it. The Dragons is going to be coming out from Poofy from Spawn, who was able to build that up very quickly.
Let's get Brig.
Onto Hamides. The Brigitte is now down. Another bomb from Killer Beast. That's the second one this fight. They take out Poofy, and eventually they will take the second point of Hanamura, but a lot of time burns off from the first point defense and on the second point there, and they finish with time left. But we'll see how much it actually is. It's 2 minutes 16 in the end, but some people would say that's a decent time, but you are on a 2 CP match. I mean, obviously they're very snowballing map tight, so it's potential here for Nohbdy. They could just steamroll through and set like a 7-minute time bank potentially. So
it is a very snowbally point, or definitely it's one of those maps that has the potential to snowball really hard. But second point, Hanamura is also historically one of those points that can be very, very difficult to take. And the fact that they completed it with actually time left in the bank is actually really, really good. And I think the second point attack was the perfect example of why Goats is so dominant. You saw them plant themselves on point, and the sustain that Goats has is just absolutely insane. I think they lost somebody a little bit earlier in their initial fight, but all the support ults and that build up and just all the health bars that are allowed there. We saw Kulture on their defense there have to we saw them saw them switch up their we saw Nohbdy on their defense there. We saw them have to switch their entire composition, where Culture was able to keep their composition the entire time on their attack after they initially switched the Goats on first point. And that allowed them to have a superior ult advantage going to second point. And while it wasn't a complete snowball, they just planted themselves on point and said, come at us, and just took them out one by one.
Obviously, they were helped all the way by Quadski making the switch from the Zenyatta to the Moira as well, which gives them extra sustain on the point. But on defense here, we will see the Bastion. No back tees this time, so again, it seems these teams are switching the Bastion and the back
We got
tees.
some Metro Goats.
Feel better soon.
Some Metro Goats coming in, and this is probably just a teleport to point strategy here.
Potentially. We'll have to see if they go right to point or if they take the long route.
Yeah, they're going to go straight to point, they're going to go straight in. Killer Beast is going to be the one to touch for Culture eSports to deny. But he's alone right now, no one else has dropped from Culture eSports, he's just a diva here. Can't really stay alive for long. Void is actually the window there onto Corey's mech. Remember, Bastion can shoot through those windows. It's very hard to do it, but you can shoot through them. Killer Beast will sacrifice his mech. To be honest, I kind of expected that. He was the only one touching the point for a really long time. Hamidare is going to fall to basic on the Moira. It's a nice sort of late kill there, but I don't think it's possible for them to win this. It's only supports that are left, and basic's actually just going to jump off the map afterwards. But two people do. They lose the mercy of Hamidare on the defense, and it means now Culture eSports, they know roughly what's going to be running into them. So it'll be interesting to see if they're going to reposition, but it looks like they're going to go exactly the same place where they was before. We do see they lost 3 members in that fight. Those 3 members are going to return just in time. Diego staying on the sim as he's very close to getting the sim barrier, which is obviously very good against Bastion unless he fully melts it. Bomb's going to come in by Killer Bees, kind of has to throw down. There is the sim barrier as soon as I mentioned it. There'll be enough to keep them alive, but they will lose basic in the meantime, so the Moira is down. A lot of healing. Remember, Diego's sim charge goes up, the more damage he does. He's still damage on shields. The T-Guy, the 4-man bomb.
4.
Baby Diva was one of them, but 3 other picks alongside it. Just mentioned about Diego, obviously a lot of people will know that the sim's charge on the beam obviously charges up even when she hits shields, unlike Zarya's. But there will be some massive composition switches here.
These bunker comp can be so hard to break sometimes, especially when it's been establishing their ultimate stuff. We now see some changes made here on the attack. Switching over to an Ana, actually making wholesale changes. Mercy, Ana, Sombra, Genji, and Winston, just like completely abandoning their initial idea.
Yeah, well, 5.
Really trying to just dive onto the bunker, and they realize there is no Baptiste. They can dive it, and no mortality field will prevent you if you're coordinated enough.
So, 5 changes made, so 5 ultra reset, and we do mention about bunker.
They're not choosing to dive onto the bunker.
5, the bunker compositions is known. Basic's going to lose his life, though. Too much.
They're actually getting quite a lot of value out of this.
So the picks are definitely coming in advantage. Culture eSports don't have the spawn advantage here. Hamidare is going to get taken out by that bomb by Corey, who also gets a DMAC on Killer Beast. Tank 4 is going to come out by Void, and Squad's also going to get Transcendence. Just wanted to mention, obviously, they reset the ultimate bank, but they're going to potentially try and use the spawn advantage. Bunker Comp's designed to kill off a lot of time, and you can see that we're already down to less than 60 seconds. Diego's built up a very quick blade, though, after getting into the fight. So it's going to take out Squad with it, and I think he got slashed into Void there as well. And it looks like that's going to be enough for the first point to get taken. For Nohbdy, it looks like they will have slightly more time to go into their attack run than Culture eSports had. 4 minutes 40 in total. I think it was only just over 3 minutes in the end Culture eSports had, thanks to the stall. They're now making the switches of themselves. The Bastion, sticking on the Bastion. The T-Guy going to the Symmetra. Looks like he's going to stay on it as well, so they can try and rotate the Bastion. Man, after this strat was, I think it was made popular in China, the Chinese contenders, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. With this Bastion on the high ground with the Sim, and just teleporting back to back on these high grounds, just trying to burn as much time off as possible. But Poofy, he has the EMP. Do you think that's going to be the win condition right now for Nohbdy?
I mean, the EMP can do quite a lot, but they don't have the blade anymore to really combine it with anything. Their only things they can get to the high ground is with their tanks and their Genji, pretty much. So I really don't think, unless they get them to drop down onto the ground, I don't think the EMP will get a lot of value.
I'm trying to work out what's happened here. They seem to have taken a bit of a break, and I don't know if Adelight accidentally used his primal rage, but his ultimate charge has all of a sudden just reset there.
Maybe a little bit of a fat finger.
They were waiting around to go back in. You could see them in the main. They weren't fully going in. Killer Beast is going to throw in the bomb. Bomb was also down by Quadski, and Alloy is just going to get melted. That was so quickly with the Discord Orb, and that Tigray is also going to pick onto Ricky on that Ana, and the ults not committed by Nohbdy, but they do get quite a few ults out on the defense. Bit of a dry push, you'd have to say, coming in there. I'd have to see, maybe if someone actually has access to chat and be able to tell me what actually happened to Ally Light there, because he definitely had built up a primal rage at some point there. But it seemed to potentially press it by accident, and that's why they waited before they re-engaged. And we're looking at the time bank now. Even if they are able to take it, most likely it's going to be in less time. But they definitely have the ultimate advantage of the EMP being the big one. Looks like they're trying to build up this blade as well as quickly as they possibly can, so they can have that combo. You can see how much damage Diego's pulling out on that Genji right now. Valkyrie coming in from both mercies.
They're doing this poke battle though with the bomber combo, which can be a really dangerous thing to do because one wrong move and you take a lot of burst damage. We see right now, oh, D.Va demeched and Ally Light taken down. You have to get out now. You cannot commit to this.
Demeched as Diego is going to get that final ult charge he needs for his Dragon Blade. So they now have the Nano Blade with EMP bomb as well. They have a lot of ults to use on their attack round, but now the time bank. They will definitely have less time than Culture eSports now, despite their quite impressive defense for Culture eSports. They have quite a few ults themselves, Transcendence being one of them. Killer Bees is just going to jump off the map. Sorry, not match. To get his mech back.
A little bit of a late time to do it though, because we already see some of the people on Nohbdy. They're kind of already setting up to push in, but it should probably be enough time. Yeah,
well, the respawns obviously advantage is going to come in handy there because his spawn's literally right there and he's already back already, ready.
And we see actually them quite split up on the side of the defense here. They know there's EMP in there. We still have half a team on the right, half a team on the left.
Yeah, Cuddy Beast looks like he's the one who's been designated to stall this point out for as long as possible on this D.Va. Both bombs coming out. There is a Blade, EMP, Nano.
Man.
Cuddy Beast is going to get 2 kills. One of them being Diego in that Blade animation. I think that was actually might have been a Nano Blade as well, just countered by the D.Va bomb because the Nano was taken as well there. 3 ults just negated by 1 D.Va bomb there from Killer Bees. Fantastic placement. It also meant they kept hold of the Transcendence as well because I think the squad actually got hacked by that. They're going to make some swaps here. Be interested to see if they're going to keep basic on the Mercy because they have the Val. But
no, they're going over the Moira.
We're going to go to well, traditional goats as this was originally called at one point with the Moira variation of goats. And again on defense, look how many ultimates they've just built up again, and it looks like
they're really
back on 6 here where Culture eSports. They're not being forced to use these ultimates.
Yeah, they're being forced to spend all their cooldowns just to get into the one here, and now they pop the bongos, and they're just going to take so much damage from all sides. You see they have a crossfire open with the Bastion right now. There's not much they can do.
Right now on the defense, Void's going to pop his tank form. He's actually going to drop to the low ground. Going to get picked up by Diego on Zarya, but Void just getting res back up. There is the Sim Shield as well, just shield for even longer right now. This advantage is definitely for Culture eSports. Look at the time bank and how close they are. Someone has to sort of touch it. I don't know if the Reinhardt can make it. There's a baby D.Va that makes it to trigger overtime. Reinhardt from Ally Light has to make it. The bomb's going to come in just to zone it out, and that will be the second map. Sorry, no, the third map, but the second map for Culture eSports in this series. And it looked like they were sort of back to themselves there on Route 66 with, you know, being able to just build up a lot of ultimate banks and just basically just use them all at once, really, in the last team fight.
Yeah, and now they're up 2-1 in the series, just 1 map off of winning the series.
And there's that 4-man tie-up by Tigray on that defense, which enabled them to hold and burn quite a bit of time off as well, actually, with that. So yeah, Diego having a good performance there on the Torbjorn. And over here.
Let's go to
this time.
Quick intermission here, and then we'll be right back.
Are we? Well, welcome back, everybody. We just saw after the third map there of Hanamura. In the end, it goes to Culture eSports. Remember, these are the underdogs. This was the lowest seed that made the playoffs. They've fought through the quarterfinals. They fought through the semifinals, which was unbeaten, I believe, at that point as well. And here they are. They're in the lead in the grand finals, and only one map off of becoming the CGL champions for the diamond tier here and claiming that prize. I believe it was $350 if I do remember right. Correct me if I'm wrong. If Rammer there, I am wrong. And we have my favorite map coming up next as fourth for King's Row. I believe it's probably a lot of people's favorite maps in chat as well.
Best map in the game. Well, let's say though, I think this also, you mentioned about Culture coming here as the low seed. I think, like we were discussing coming into this, that we thought just the path they've taken to get here would leave them kind of hungry, wanting this win a whole lot. And we saw that right off the bat, where they took the first map pretty strong. And then they did lose the second map in kind of a little bit of an unfortunate situation of C9. But I think if this last map shows anything, it shows that they have the mental fortitude to finish this series out. I mean, whenever you see 9 in a series that costs you a map, that's can be a very big mental boom on you. But you saw them come back and just slam this next map, and it seemed like it didn't phase them at all.
I think that's a perfectly valid point. I mean, you lose second point in unfortunate circumstances. We'll put it down to. I mean, it was a C9, but it was unfortunate how it came about to be a C9, really. And you do find yourself, you're one map off winning. And I have said throughout every single game that I've covered for regular seasons going into playoffs, and even in the playoffs for the quarterfinals, for example, I've always said, you can't judge seedings for how well a team is going to play on the day. And I think Culture eSports have definitely proven that throughout this entire run, because they have shown up to every game. And you look at the seedings, and maybe the enemy team is thinking, oh, this is going to be easy because look where they finished, and they just got surprised because they just underestimate them. And you can only underestimate a team so much, especially when they've made the grand finals, and they're in the lead right now, so they must be happy in paradise,
Yeah, but I mean, you're in the situations though. It's for both teams. It's so much pressure to be in these kind of final situations, especially when a lot of these fights are going back and forth. It can be really a mental game, and one team might have more skill, but the team that is a stronger team, or even just like mentally stronger as a unit, it can be a huge advantage.
I mean, I think you mentioned it at the start of the game as well, about how Culture eSports, at least on paper, are the younger of the two teams as well. So you're talking about sort of mental strength. You'd be maybe expecting a bit more of the sort of older players to be able to handle it. So maybe you'll see the sort of leaders emerge more on Nohbdy now. And maybe Culture eSports, they're going to get, I won't say cocky, but I'd probably say confident. They find themselves, they're one map up right now, so ecstatic, really.
Mm-hmm. They can't get like you mentioned, they cannot get complacent. They still have to finish this series out.
There is money on the line at the end of the day. As I mentioned at the start of the stream, this is not just any random old game being played. There is money on the line, and it looks like we're going to have again a bunker defense on King's Row. No goats, at least for now.
This is the goats' haven too.
Oh, huge coop straight away though, coming in by Diego. And again, we've had another side switch for people who might have noticed, you might not. So Culture eSports are now back on defense as your blue team, and the red team is Nohbdy, who are obviously find themselves 2-1 down in this series, knowing they have to take King's Row to take us to our 5th map of Legion Tower. Looks like they are going to make some switches. Corey's going to go over to the Junkrat, and they're just going to go for
knocks Zen down.
Damage right now.
Oh, but no follow.
And they go to Widow. They're just going to try and kill the shield of Culture eSports, but it's so much time already here. Almost 50 seconds has already been built up.
Takes down Bastion already, just going right in. Ferris still right in there. Gets 2 more kills. They got the res, but like, doesn't seem to matter.
Again, it's risky resis galore. We've seen that all day so far. That
just dominating this point.
both of the Mercies like going for these risky res. Diego's just cleaning up on his Pharaoh again, though. And that will be enough.
He went point blank range to the Bastion and just dared him to try to take him out. He got 2 or 3 direct hits on Bastion, took him out, then stood there in the middle between Mercy and Zen and killed the Mercy as well.
And a late kill on the squad there as well. It was actually just going to be raised back up. Poofy actually got that pick. And they're going to bring the Zen back. And I was about to mention before that fight actually took place, you use the bug comp to burn some time off, probably knowing you're going to switch to a GOAT variant at some point for the next major streets. Squad's going to get a nice pick onto Corey there. I don't know if the red's going to come in there. Poofy's really low and being pressured by Killer Beast is actually just at an anti-nade though to the back of the head, so he's just going to back off slightly. Right now, again, we mentioned about the advantage that Culture eSports had on Route 66 in terms of what they could put on the point by having the Reinhardt Zarya at that point. They have the Reinhardt Diva, and if you look at Nohbdy, they've got this Hammond, yeah, but he's not going to have enough to sustain against the tank line which they could put on point for Culture eSports. So I think for Nohbdy right now, he's going to be using as many of these ultimates as you possibly can, because they're close to having 6 now, and then maybe make some switches afterwards if it's unsuccessful. Oh, Diego gets flashed out of it, but he still picks off squad before he just gets killed, and Void will eventually take him out on that McCree. Anti-nade's going to be coming in onto quad. So the Reinhardt is now down, the Mercy's also down. Corey's just going to take him out with the tire there, quite back range. Nice easy kill there, as he was quite low, and Nohbdy's just going to get some progress going. 3 ult sacrifice with the barrage. And it was so huge that even though the barrage was cancelled, it was there, it was active enough to take out squad who had the transcendence. And he's actually just going to get his revenge there on Diego from long range. Remember, no damage fall off for Zenyatta. Looks like the Brace is going to be coming in there to bring Diego back to the fight, and why not? He's putting so much damage out right now. There's so much spam damage right now for Nohbdy, which they're definitely using to their advantage.
Forces the trance out.
Coming out, T-Grave falls anyway to the Widowmaker. Remember, still can be get a pick through Transcendence of the Widowmaker. The Raze is going to come in. T-Grave working towards that Dragon. Void's going to fall to Ally Light on that.
Oh, anti-nade's
going to take out quad, so the Reinhardt is down. And as soon as I mentioned about the payload progress and pressure which they can put on their Culture eSports, they're losing the team fight right now.
Mercy just resing right beside Diva.
He just gets the rest off. Hammy there goes.
Mercy killing Goofy.
It takes out the Widow, but loses his life to retire again by Corey. How quick he's built that ultimate up has actually been insane. And with having this much poke damage, it's really hard for Culture eSports to actually fight. On paper, they have the better composition to stay on point and fight, but when you're taking so much poke damage from so many different angles, you can't remain on it for as long as you'd want.
It looks like the Ryan's just tired of dealing with it. He's like, I'm holding my shield up. My shield's being broken. You know what? I'm going Hammond as well.
I mean, yeah, sometimes maybe you get enough, and you see Corey instantly making a switch himself onto the Sombra from the Junkrat. Obviously, well-known counter to the Hammond. Would have to be careful though to avoid on that McCree, since he has been pretty deadly so far on that hero when he's had a chance. Early Infosight called out by Poofy on the Widowmaker. Ally is going to go just like rolling into the back line.
Mercy separated.
He will get picked off by Void, but Hammy Dare is going to lose his life to the anti-nade. And Ally is just going to get raised back in. Bob goes back in. There's no shield for that, but do it.
It was good bomb placement, but unfortunately it did not get anybody. But Tigray picking off the Ana right there in the head, but not to be stopped. Diego picking off. Oh my gosh. Kill being traded left and right, but the defense will be stabilizing.
Yeah, eventually they will hold on. There's actually someone called out by Killer Beast as well. Has actually made that switch, and Tigray has made a switch onto the Genji now. So both teams are on triple DPS Hammond composition now. Just trying to outplay each other more than anything, you'd have to say. But 3 ults are lying on the attack for Nohbdy, the barrage being one of them again. And only the high noon you'd have to say of any ultimate value on the defense here. So the Valk is there as well.
Mercy hacked right now, so she cannot fly with her Pharah.
Quad gets hacked, slept, he's dead instantly. Squad also falls, Void tries to do something with the high noon, he takes out Basic as they pop the Valk, but I don't know if it's going to be enough because he loses his life to Ally Light. And that's 3 picks, 4 picks now coming in on attack. Killer Beast might get a pick on the Pharah there, Diego with the barrage, but it's only him and the Hammond left to stall. As Hamideh returns on the Mercy. Ally gets hacked, he'll get taken out, but Hamideh is going to lose his life Poofy on this Widowmaker right now, who's uncontested. Alloy's going to lose his life to Podski. It looks like eventually they were going to be able to.
Oh, 3-man EMP.
People coming to connect with 3, including Corey, had the EMP. He'll fall to kill a beast, but Diego's still going to get a pick onto Void, but just trading out right now. A lot of ults being committed by Culture eSports, and it reminded me back about Ilias. I don't know about yourself, Emma, about how they're just using ults as soon as they seem to come online right now, Culture eSports, because they're being forced into it.
Yeah, this get third point King's Row, and obviously a lot of King's Row leads itself to the more like tank-heavy compositions, but third point specifically can also be very hard to take if you don't have something to like fully finish it out. And you use your you lose your MP right now. We see them do the nano barrage, but actually only gets up 1. And for a lot of ults, they're trading kills. They keep they're all combinations. They keep trading kills
as well. Again, it's a 2-2 right now, and also spawn advantage. Tigray is going to get a double kill with those just those slashes, just going 3 people there, and another kill by the Mines of Quadspit. And you mentioned about obviously just the trading there. They use barrage, they use the nano, they use the EMP. Massive compositions coming in. They reset their entire ult bang. With
I think it's just go goats.
Well, at this point, they're going to have about under 30 seconds potentially when they start this next team fight, and they're going to be coming in with no ultimates. And on the defense, Culture eSports have 3, and 2 of them being team wiping ones potentially if they're timed right in the Blade and the High Noon.
Yeah, I really think they should just want to go. They burn so much time in these back positions and keep not being able to combine their ultimates effectively to get those finishing blows.
They got Moy with Zen healing as well. Interesting support duo. 2 picks instantly in the kill feed. The Zen being one of them falls. Tigray actually falls to Poofy though during that animation of the Blade. Sound Barrier is just going to clear by squad just to keep him alive. Right now, Culture eSports should just clean up. I don't think anyone can even touch. The Moira's going to be able to fade by Ricky to get a little bit more percentage and a little bit few little more meters there.
3-man!
I know the Void's going to get a triple kill with the help of the EMP. 4, in fact, you're just going to basically play clean up at the end. A few extra percentage, or a few extra meters gained in the end for Nohbdy, but there is the win condition has been set for Culture eSports to become the grand champions, or become the champions of the grand finals, I should actually say, in proper English terms. But I mean, it's not an easy task. You know, there's still potential that a first hold comes in here. We go to a map 5. I mean, what are you expecting right now? Are you expecting bunker compositions to come out on defense just like Culture did, or are you expecting to see potentially the Goats v Goats match come out now?
I mean, I wouldn't be the slightest bit surprised to see any bit of Pharah or Bastion type composition, since it seemed like that's been very common throughout this entire match. I would hope, if I was Nohbdy right now, I would really hope that our team would be running kind of a more tanky ghosty composition, because it can be so strong, and then you don't have to switch the rest of your points either. You can run those compositions throughout the entirety of King's Row and get away with it. We saw them reset their entire ult bank there in the final fights, and it can work, but it makes it a lot more difficult if you don't get that full first point hold. And you already know now that you didn't cap third point yourself, and you like you mentioned, the bar is set. They know where the finish line is. It seemed like they weren't able to fully close it out.
Yeah, 52.73 meters to be precise would be enough for Culture eSports to become your champions. But first, they have to take the first 2 points of King's Row, and it will be a bunker comp on defense. But no back, and again another boot from the Farrows. Both Farrows been consistent.
Oh, Jumper's hanging out.
Well, he's going to get a pick on Diego, just basically replicating what happened for Diego on their attack.
Where's he booped down on the res?
Immortality Field was also burnt there to try and get the res, and that falls. So that massive advantage is now on cooldown for the next like 14 seconds. Massive cooldown on that. So they're just going to use advantage. Poofy's going to get picked though onto Void.
Oh, Tigray popping off.
They'll lose both supports to Tigray though, as not punishment, but that will happen. And Void's going to get his revenge onto Poofy as well. Diego gets a late pick onto Squad, but there's only himself and a Baby Diva who just falls instantly to that 5 strike by Quadski. He went flying across the map there. And just like that, first point is taken. And look at that time bank which they had to get through streets here. And it's going to be interesting to see if they do what happened yesterday in the Masters tier. We saw the team go really aggressive on streets, and they single-handedly won streets by 1 team fight. after it was committing a graviton surge. It was, and a shatter the fight afterwards. But it doesn't look like Culture eSports are going to do that. It looks like they're going to stay together as a unit. They've got 2 people on point right now. Sometimes you would see personally they push up to get some stagger kills, but they decided.
I feel like nobody right now is lacking kind of a little bit of damage in their composition. They're running a Widow Doomfist, and there's not really a lot of things you can do.
T-Gray again. He's been consistent with those dragons getting kills, and yeah, Widow Doomfist. It's they're good. They are good damage dealers in when they have time, and we have seen Poofy's had times when he has popped off on his Widowmaker, but right now you kind of need something to slow down this momentum. And you just saw how quickly Alloy got focused there on the Reinhardt, and I think it leads back to your argument as well. If they'd maybe gone Ghost and they had like a Baptiste there or a Brig Armbat to keep him alive, maybe they stay in that fight long enough. Because we've seen Ricky now, he's switched off Baptiste to go to the Lucio, so.
Because realistically, who is Doomfist going to kill? I mean, the only really squishies that he can kind of get to is like Hanzo and maybe the Mercy if she's out of position, or Lucio, but like the rest of the tank will be healed. I guess he'll get Lucio. Now I cursed it.
The Shatter Bomb's going to come in. Barrage is also committed. A lot of ults being committed by Culture eSports. They want to end this team fight right here. They commit 4 ults.
It's been a lot. But I guess you're kind of okay with it because at this point, I mean, you got them to commit some ults on the defense as well, and now they're having to switch their composition once again. Diego off the Doomfist and off the Widow for Poofy over to Hanzo Soldier. Moira, this is switching everything.
I mean, look at this time bank. Over 5 minutes to get this payload to that yellow box of victory to become the champions of the tier 4 diamond here. Early pick by T-Gray onto Diego. He's down. Dragons is going to come out this time. It's not eaten. Bomb's going to be thrown out by Corey.
2 already.
Maybe Diva's actually going to be killed by T-Gray again. That's a huge pick. Alloy's already worked up to a shatter, but he's going to fall. Beat's going to come in by.
They want to finish it out right now.
They want to win this right now. There's only Ricky here left to contest. He's 1 HP. Diego gets a pick onto Void. He went too aggressive on the Pharaoh, but he's just going to get res back up. They have to get on this point in the stall.
Oh, the pin! That's massive.
T-Gray is going to get another pick.
And that's it.
Can't make it. And just like that, against all odds, you'd have to say, from the start of the playoffs, is Culture eSports the lowest ranked team that was left in the playoffs who become champions of the CGL Diamond tier. I think it's tier 4 NA, if I do remember right. And is that Ian by noon at the end?
Yeah, just getting to 4K. Like they showed resolve throughout this entire match.
Vampire Ray is just trying to cause some space right now, but he's kind of left quite behind. Hasn't really got any picks on it. Will return back, but in the meantime, Ricky's going to fall. To make sure of it with the hook. Obviously, a lot of environmental kills can be used with this one, and that's potentially why Roy's gone for this Sparrow as well.
Boom!
To say that the risk is going to commit the barrage, he's going to lose his life in the meantime for it.
He's still alive, stall the entire
They're just still much issues because he can still fire arrows. He's going to get the big one. Twice now he's taken out somewhere else.
He's killing them all.
Okay, the Diego just got a 6k there. Technically, 2 kills come in, the EP is going to come in just to hit 3 for 3. They're going to commit the beat as well.
They're really doubling down.
I don't know if that beat was necessary for Culture eSports. Diego's going to get another pick down to Hamid, lose his life on. Maybe a little bit too close to the Diva Met there. Beat's going to come in by Iron Man at this point more time. Gets battered out of the red. They will lose Boxy. Just Kennedy's left. Red now on Diva trying to fight this Farah as well. But they've got to stay on. Culture eSports had 2 people alive against 1 Reinhardt. They ball's going to come out by the Torbjorn here. Yes, remember, Torbjorn can actually stall a point for a really long time now. People another pick. I don't know why it's going to take out Tigray. They're going to commit after the field here as well. I believe the tip was not even fully taken there. Actually, I think it's Moira as well on the end. Big shot by Tigray, but follow-up needs to be there. The Grandson Surge is going to come in. They will take charge onto Diego. So Aloe Light left on the Orisa here. Reyes gets done by basically just using all that guns really in the last team fight.
Yeah, and now they're up 2-1 in the series, just 1 map off of winning the series.
And there's that 4th feed, the Zen being one of them falls. Tigray actually falls to the boot feed though during that animation of the blade. Sound Barrier is just going to come up by squad just to keep him alive. Right now, Culture eSports should just clean up. I don't think anyone can even touch. The Moira are burnt there to try and get the res, and that falls. So that massive advantage is now on cooldown for the next like 14 seconds. A massive cooldown on that. So they're just going to use advantage. Poof is going to get picked up. Shatter Bomb's going to come in. Barge is also committed. A lot of ones being committed by Culture eSports. They want to end this team fight right here. They commit forward.
He's done a lot. But I guess you're kind of okay with it.
Tigray's going to get another pick. Can't make it. And just like that, I guess all odds you have to say from the start of the playoffs is Culture eSports. Well, so that is the end of Overwatch for today. Just a reminder of the final score. We saw Culture eSports come away 3-1. They were victorious in the end, the underdogs, you have to say, of the series. just general reflections on the game, Ramo. Is there anything particularly you want to point out before we go into our post-match interview with the team captain of Kulture eSports here?
No, it was just a pretty impressive match all around here for both teams. We saw, like you mentioned, Culture eSports coming in the lower seed into this match, actually the lower seed in the playoffs in general, and coming back, from the adversity and just, taking the win in actually, I think overall a pretty dominant fashion throughout this entire series. What do you say?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I was going to reflect back, and if we do look back through the maps, even at Ilios was, an extremely close series, and they lost that in quite unfortunate circumstances, you have to say. I think I do definitely agree with you about it was you wouldn't expect kind of a one-sided series really in the grand finals, but they definitely looked a lot more confident, and I don't, maybe it was having the underdog status helped them with that as well. So
well, thankfully for us, we actually we have the captain here of Culture eSports, I am Anna. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so obviously we kind of touched on it earlier. You guys came in here the underdog into this series. Did that affect kind of your guys' mindset going into this match at all?
Honestly, I don't think it did, because we came into this series knowing that we'd practice every day. I didn't allow my players to have any sort of breaks. We'd scrim every day from 8 to at least 9:30 every day.
Okay, so you guys had a pretty regular practice schedule. Was that the same throughout the entire season, or just for the playoff period?
And when we first started off as Culture eSports, we've had many different players, and it's, sorry if y'all are hearing this.
That's okay.
Many different players. Our roster has switched up a ton, and then I just went on a big recruiting spree, and I found these amazing players such as Tigray, Odsky, and Boydle.
Yeah, I
And
can definitely see that, because I mean, at some point in time throughout this entire series, I think we saw each individual member kind of pop off or perform in their own way. It wasn't just one player carrying the match, carrying the series the entire time throughout. So let's talk about this series overall. Obviously, it did look overall pretty dominant for your team, despite you guys did lose that one map. Was there anything unexpected, or was there? You guys one thing I noticed a lot was that there seemed like there was a lot of situations where goats could have been run where it wasn't, and instead you guys seem to stick to, actually both teams in general seem to stick to bunker most commonly. Is there a reason why you guys played predominantly bunker and triple DPS?
well, we've ran these maps before in like weak games, and we've always stuck to the bunker comps, and we found out that it was working for us. But usually if our bunker comp does not work, we immediately swap to goats.
Okay. It seemed like overall your bunker was working pretty well. Why do you think that it works so well against Nohbdy?
Because we've played them in the past, and we've noticed that they do not know how to counter the Bastion.
It actually, I agree. It felt like
they kind of countered it, because I feel like they knew that we were going to run that bunker comp.
Yeah, I agree with the whole what you said about countering Bastion, because especially first map right off the bat, it really looked like they struggled to play against the Bastion. A lot on second point. You guys kind of held that choke or that corner on Route 66, and they kept kind of doing a little bit like split dives. We're not the team fully committed, and just would get burned down time and time again by your Bastion. And it gave them so much trouble that they went down. We're not able to even cap second. So, I mean, moving on to the second map, obviously we kind of do have to talk about it a little bit. The C9 on the third point of Ilios. Do you want to walk me through how exactly that happened?
Honestly, I think it was because we could not counter the Pharah. Me personally, as a healer, I was being picked off by that Pharah every time, and so was Hammy. And well, I know I was in the middle of dropping the beat, and then I died to the Pharah.
Oh,
immediately.
Yeah. As a fellow support main, I feel your pain.
And I feel like we C9 because I know Tigray, he was like half health and he was trying to teleport somewhere.
Yeah, just everything kind of came together all at once, and all those so everyone thinks like someone else is gonna touch.
Yeah.
All right, but obviously, one of the things I was most impressed with your team was that, especially in these final situations, the mental aspect is actually sometimes more important than the actual performance aspect, because you're surprised, even though this isn't really like a professional sport, it can get really intense. I was in the finals for my tier last season, and it's still to this day, like our game went to like a map 5, 99-99, the final control point, and it was the most intense match I ever played in my life. Like my heart was beating like constantly until for like probably an hour after the match was over. It was way more stressful than I thought it would be. Did any of that come into play with you guys?
Coming into the game today, if we were like, what was the question again?
More like I was talking about the kind of like mental fortitude in the game, and if you guys felt any of like the pressure or the stress of it mid game.
I feel like after the second map when we lost, like the pressure was there because we were obviously 1-1 at that point. But when we came into the game and we're pretty confident, we knew we were gonna win today.
Yeah, I could tell. I was really impressed with how you guys came back in dominant fashion on the third map after us. It's kind of talked about a lot sometimes in like Overwatch League, mental booming. You guys came back from the C9, which can sometimes a situation like that can break a team's like mental attitude. But you guys came back, dominated the third map, and then that was kind of when I was pretty sure that you guys were probably going to win the series. There's not a whole lot of teams that can come back stronger after being taken on the map before. So then we went into King's Row at when you guys were up 2-1. And it seemed like, again, back to a little bit more of the bunker. And it seemed like you guys actually, your defense held really strong on third point after, it was pushed pretty fast. Both teams really didn't have much of a defense on first or second. But what do you think caused Nohbdy so much trouble on third point? Because what was working so well on first and second. What, did you guys change anything?
No, we just ran the bunker and they had the Pharah. I feel like when we were attacking, they just didn't have time to set up because we just kept rolling them.
Yeah. Yeah, I really felt like, I mean, personally, when I was watching the game from their point of view, I felt like they spent way too much time trying to force that composition to work. Every single time they would invest ultimates, they would trade, which is never a good thing on a defense situation. Trading kills back and forth. I personally thought they should run goats. Actually, I'll admit I'm a little bit newer to the PS4 side as I'm primarily an Xbox player. I was kind of surprised by the lack of goats, but I think that would have been the best situation for them in that moment. So you guys came back and pretty much rolled on your attack. It seemed like they had no idea what to do. Do you attribute this to your guys' skill in those kind of triple DPS compositions?
What was that again? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, so obviously you guys held pretty strong on defense, but when your attack came out, actually I thought your attack was even stronger than your defense. You guys came back and pretty much rolled them. Do you think like the mental aspect from that had anything to do with it for them not capping third point, or do you think you guys were just styling them at that point?
Oh, we obviously had like that certain comp we were gonna run, and that's what really did it for us. We started calling targets, focusing, and that showed as we rolled them.
Absolutely. So now you guys have you guys have won. You're now the champions of the PS4 Diamond tier at CGL. So, you know, in typical Super Bowl fashion, what are you guys going to do next?
Well, for Culture eSports, we are moving up a tier. We're going into tier 4. And we do have our academy team, which is going to be in tier 3.
Okay. So they're kind of taking your role.
Yes.
Yeah, do you guys have any social media you guys want to plug?
You can follow us at Culture_esports on Twitter and Instagram.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us here today. Is there anything else you want to say to your team, anybody else on the stream, or just anything at all?
Not really, other than I'm really proud of my players. They really did play their hearts out today. I know they wanted it more than anything, so that really came to show today in their play style.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Congratulations again on your victory. And thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
So before we leave, unless Austin's already ended the stream,
We're not live, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So nobody saw that. Whatever. So yeah, we got a few more games coming this week. It's not over yet. We actually have a full week. So this is just, despite we've had so many games already, this is only the second day of championship week. In case you're not familiar, this is the entire week of all the finals of all the tiers of all our platforms and all the regions. So far, we've had 3 matches down the wayside. Tomorrow, though, we got 2 more. We got an EU PS4 Diamond Championship. So the other side of the world in the EU and the PS4 side for this match. We got an NA PS4 match as well. Velocity X versus Pro League Gaming. And at both 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on CGL1. We hope to see you there. There is a schedule. We'll post it in Twitch chat, as well as you can find it in the Discord, in the Console Gaming League's Discord, in the multi-tier tournament channel for the event. It'll list out every game for this week. Come on, join us in the chat. Root on your favorite team. Trash talk the team you don't like. Whatever. It's all sport here.
At the end of the day, it's all about fun, and I think I'd like to get the mention in. If I do remember this correctly, the Pro League game tomorrow actually has a little bit of a special guest. We will have Warren Overwatch joining us, the streamer. Will be joining us for that special GM game. So a special caster coming in for that one, for that much anticipated, I should say, GM tier game. So again, 2 more fantastic series hopefully tomorrow. Still plenty more to go. It's a whole week full of playoff finals now, so this is the best of the best going against each other. And just because maybe you didn't have the best in regular season, as you can see there with Culture eSports, we talked about the underdogs, but they're confident in themselves to be, they want to go up a tier. They're going to have the academy, So sometimes it does show that if you show up on a day, anyone can beat anyone, really, and that's what these grand finals are about. And hopefully we'll see a few more map 5s. I know obviously the Xbox One was that was a 3-0. Today's one was a 3-1. So unfortunately we didn't get to see the 5th map today of Legion Tower, but I do imagine there will be a lot more closer series potentially coming over the next week.
Absolutely. Well, I guess you know what, Optimus? I guess we'll call it here. So thank you everybody for joining us today at this match. We hope to see you on our streams the rest of this week. Reminder, you can see the schedule for all of our upcoming streams in the CGL Discord. Come on, please follow, like, subscribe, comment, all those social media things. To our MySpace, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Twitch, our YouTube. We got all the social medias. You know what? I think we even have an Instagram where we post some very well-crafted memes, handmade by our social media team. We just keep them locked in the closet, putting together memes. That's all they do. They're just meme specialists. Absolutely. Thank you again for joining us, everyone, and we hope to see you next time.
See you soon.